Welcome everybody back to another TNA special on the Hitting the Turnbuckle podcast. Now, last week TNA put on an incredible Against All Odds show. For those of you that didn't see it on the TNA Plus app, you need to get the TNA Plus app to go and watch shows like this. Now, someone that we're speaking to today, and I don't know if we can use the term right-hand man in TNA
Absolutely.
right now,
Right hand. Big right hand.
but someone who's a right-hand man of Mustafa Ali right now. And we'll talk about Mustafa Ali in a minute, but let's welcome the guest, Mr. Campaign Singh first. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. Love being here, talking to the people and the fans of TNA.
Yeah, it's great to have you on, Campaign. Thank you so much for taking some
Right.
time. Let's just quickly go straight into Mustafa Ali. Had a actually really good match with our boy Trent Seven, obviously
Uh,
from the UK. This Against All Odds this past Friday. It was an incredible. I think I put it as match of the night on my review. I think. But in terms of that, I mean, in terms of TNA and the growth recently, not even just recently, over the last few years, and you've been there since 2018, and you've kind of witnessed this. And do you think that you're witnessing something now that's incredibly special on going on in TNA?
yes, I do. To answer like the first part you said, the match between Mustafa and Trent on Against All Odds, I had to watch on the TNA Plus app. I was banned from ringside. So
Yes.
of course it was, as you said, a very great match. And to answer your question, of course, 2018 was great,
Mm.
beautiful, but I think I can speak for a lot of people, fans and staff and roster members. It is progressively gotten better and better and better, and we are at the point right now where, as you said, it's something special. Great matches, uh, and there is a buzz of excitement around the roster right now.
I would agree, but I also think that buzz is also within the fans. I mean, I've been obviously I was a big fan of TNA. I watched way
Mm,
back since we could get it over here in the
good.
UK, and then obviously we couldn't get it, and then now thankfully we can again, so we can watch it every week, which is great. But what I've been noticing myself is not just the quality of matches, but the quality of the stories and the production around it, and it's got this big. I would say now this kind of feel where it does feel like it's back to that sort of glory days of old, which we all loved on TNA, and it does just feel that I don't know. There's just a sense of it's got an all round feeling that it's big time again.
Yeah, 100%. You hit the nail right on the head. It's a big testament to the way that the production has grown and how you say it's got that big time feel. So I mean, um, definitely from myself, and I know other people that I speak to, it always had that big time feel to us, but I guess how you say it for the fans, it has that big time feel again. And it's nice being a part of that. It's nice seeing that. And as a wrestling fan myself, it's beautiful to see because it just means that much more beautiful wrestling for everybody else enjoying.
Yeah, definitely so. I mean, as I said, I've watched it week in, week out, and obviously I review it for the channel week in, week out. And I say it surprises me every week, and I don't know, but I suppose sometimes it's an expectational thing. I go in there every week, and I see some of these stars. Some of them I know, like I mention every time I have an interview with a TNA, Leon Slater for one, who I've seen for years over here, and I know, and I see how he's obviously come back and he's done some shows over here in the UK since, and even he seems to have improved. And I know that sounds for me seeing him so much over here that I think, how can someone that good improve? But when you're working with a talent roster of hungry wrestlers that
Mhm.
want, and I think it's important that everyone wants to go better and better and better. It also takes that back when you see them sort of, I say, when I see Leon Slater back over here in the UK doing shows.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I got to see Leon Slater up close in his match with Mustafa. I was ringside
Yeah.
for it. The first time I'd seen him in person, of course, the clips I see, and he was a blue chip prospect well before I met him. And I'm happy that TNA was able to sign him and bring him in. And I don't want to sound too cliche when I'm answering every one of your questions, but iron sharpens iron.
Yeah.
And Leon Slater, he comes in, he's already great, but then he gets to work with guys like Mustafa or whoever else he's working, the Trent Sevens, the Speedball Baileys of the world, and you're only gonna get better and better and be able to pass that on to the next crop of boys that you're working with when you head back home to the Indies, whether it be the UK, Canada, US, wherever. And like when you surround yourself with high-end talent, you're going to end up, it's going to rub off on you, and you're going to learn a lot of good things. So that's definitely one of the things about our locker room that, is a testament to everybody, because they all work together to make each other better. That's for sure.
Yeah, definitely. So, and coming off of Against the Odds, there was a return to TNA of kind of one of its big stars from way back, Jeff Hardy. And you kind of mentioned there about how obviously you're working with the guys like Mustafa and that. But even for yourself there, when Jeff Hardy comes back, and obviously Matt Hardy, because he's come back recently, does it also make you want to sort of grab them for 10 minutes and say, hey, look, guys, I'm, trying to learn and to get better myself and sort of to tap into their knowledge?
Always, always. For myself, I always, I want to take every opportunity I have to learn. And, I mean, again, not to divert from that answer, but I want to even learn from guys like Leon Slater. He's the new and upcoming guy with the new stuff. So I want to learn from him. But, and when I see a guy like Matt and Jeff Hardy, we were fans when we were kids. So it's so hard not to, the first 2, 3 minutes you meet them, you're kind of like shaking, you're nervous. Hey, man, I have a lot of admiration and respect for you. And then, hey, can I get this wealth of knowledge from you? So it's, yeah, it's very, very cool to be around these types of talents, and, hopefully become one of those talents that when I enter a locker room and make a return one day, somebody will say, I want to learn from that guy.
Definitely. I've got to admit, when I was watching Against All Odds on the TNA Plus app and the music hit from Jeff, I must admit, it's very, I'm not say very rare that I get goosebumps, but it's just that it's that song. It's the moment that song hits. And obviously there was rumors, and of course there's rumors about people coming in, but it's
Yeah.
until it's there in the flesh and that kind of rock music style hit of Jeff. And it just, it was crazy. But it was also so good to hear the roar from the fans. And you got that quite a lot in TNA, don't get me wrong. But it just felt, I don't know, Against All Odds just felt like it started something off again. Like it was building and building and building. And sometimes you get to a point and you move to another level. And Against All Odds just felt it was at that point when it went from one level up to the next.
Yeah, yeah, I know exactly what you mean. Jeff is well, both of the Hardy brothers. They're such icons in our sport, and just to have them back in the locker room immediately elevates what's already a great locker room and a great roster and a great show. So I know exactly what you felt. I had the goosebumps for a bevy of different reasons, not just because I'm watching somebody that I watched in my childhood on the same show. We're now within the same realm, so there might be a chance where I get to, maybe have that match and punch him in the face. Or at the same time, it's just we have more eyes on us in the wrestling world. And I think it's something that's very important because, again, I don't want to sound cliche, but TNA and Impact, or TNA Impact, has been slept on for a while, and it's quite a disservice to the hard work that everybody from top to bottom have put in.
Yeah, definitely. So I think it's been like I always say like last 3 years or so, it's like a sleeping giant. Like it's been there and it's been quietly going about the business. And when we had stars, we've had like Matt Raywold and Santino and people like that on in the past, and they've all agreed that the way it has kind of gone under that radar unnoticed. And sometimes that's a good thing. But you
Mm.
do need those eyes on the product. And I still now, as I said, from Against All Odds, and what I'm going to bring that into now is I don't know if we can call it portals or crossovers or whatever, but it has been happening. And obviously, last night on NXT, we saw Kaz and, of course, everybody's favorite wrestler at the moment, Joe Hendry, enter. Yeah, of course, we got to enter the Battle Royal there. But the
Mm.
crossover itself, obviously in other promotions it's heard of, but in WWE it's really been unheard of. That the fact that they will work with another company, has that really lit a fire as well? Just because it is so unheard of that the WWE would work with other promotions, that now all of a sudden there's opportunity, and that could stem, I mean, from another opportunity like Joe Hendry last night. It could go on, and you guys could then feature on WWE TV, and likewise, WWE guys could basically come into the Impact Zone.
Yeah, it's how you said, like an alternate realm almost, and there's terms and phrases where this guy can, or these talents can wrestle here and vice versa, or you trade talents. And I think it's super exciting because it also allows us to, play imaginary wrestling manager in our mind and say, oh, I want to see such and such wrestle such and such, or have so and so in this show, or this knockout wrestling, this women's talent over here. So it makes it more fun, and there's going to build a lot more anticipation because everyone's going to be tuning into the shows now to see who's going to be able to cross over, who is going to cross over. And it new storylines are going to be created through other shows. So I think that's something that's definitely going to be a lot more fun to watch for not just the fans, but also for us, because we want to be, every one of us want to be the one that crosses over and does something special, and then bring somebody else to cross over onto our show. And I think that's, again, very to let you into like my inner child and my love for wrestling. It's like, when we're kids playing with the little wrestling toys or the
Yeah.
dolls, I used to have Batman fighting Superman in a pro wrestling ring with Jeff Hardy and Matt Hardy making the save. So, it's stuff like that. And that could really happen in today's day and age. And I think that makes it even more exciting.
It does. I mean, we fantasy booked already on our review shows and speak about potential
Yeah, of
matches.
course.
Believe me, there's loads of them. But does it also show just how far TNA have come? The fact that people in the WWE are saying, "Well, we need to work with these guys."
Uh, I don't want to downplay your question in the sense of like how far has TNA come? It's always been
Yeah,
great, and I think now it's just more like, let's shake the hand there and making an agreement that why can't we all be the best? Why do we have to be
yeah.
the best? Why do you have to be a secondary or tertiary show? Why don't you turn around and let's all work together and make each other elevate? It's like I mean, I don't know, you're from the UK. I'm a big football fan, as you guys call it. I love the Champions League because you see the best of the best all playing each other. And why separate into different little leagues and standings and tables and all that stuff? Let's just all go and be the best together.
Dare I ask what football team you support?
Well, I don't want to be so polarizing and have more people hate me, but I'm uh I'm a Arsenal guy, so yeah.
Yeah, we
See,
can end this
delete,
right
delete,
away.
delete.
Tottenham is mine, so yeah, you all know if
Okay, yeah.
But anyway, let's move on swiftly and quite fast to something
Oh,
that
yeah.
is going to be very special. And obviously, it's very special for you because Slammiversary is in Montreal, and you're obviously from Canada, in another part of Canada. Obviously, this is big for TNA. It's not only big for TNA, but the amount of tickets already sold. They seem to be adding some and then going, adding and they're going. And that is also testament to what's going on in the brand. But how excited are you to go to Montreal? And I think it's in the Verdun Auditorium for Slammiversary in July.
Yeah, Slammiversary at the Verdun Auditorium, July 20th. So, being in Canada, Canada's had a big has been a home for TNA for the last little bit, and I think that's also a very big thing for us, where we're having a premiere show in Montreal, and of course we have a lot of Canadian talent on the show, and that's going to be great. And in my early days before I got onto TNA, there were times when I was wrestling in Montreal, and of course not venues that weren't as big. So now I get to shine under the bright lights in a big place in Montreal, screaming fans. And as you know, hockey is very big in Canada.
Yes.
So I'm from Calgary, who is a rival of Montreal at times, and I hope that everybody in Montreal hates me even more. So
I'm
it's gonna be
sure
great.
they, I'm sure they will. But we may see Mustafa Ali and Speedball Bailey because you seem to have a problem with Speedball costing him really much against his teammate.
Mhm.
Against, is there something in there for that, or is it a plan from you and Ali, or you're not going to let us in on that?
I mean, no, I got to keep my cards tight to my vest because we could be at war with this gentleman soon, or we could be doing something else entirely. But I want everybody to tune in to Slammiversary regardless, because
Oh yes.
hey, I'm gonna be there, and it's no coincidence that as soon as I teamed up with Mustafa Ali, ticket sales just shot through the roof.
Exactly that. But before you get there, there is just the next weekend going to
Mhm.
Philly in the 2300 arena, steeped in big tradition. How much are you looking forward to going there for a couple of days for TNA?
I love Philadelphia because the people there are so easy to just annoy and make mad, and that's my specialty. You know, and there's a big you know, over the last, I don't want to say few years, it's been a little while now that wrestling has such a strong culture in Philadelphia and that area. Of course, with, you know, the extreme days.
Mhm.
So being in that arena is definitely, you know, gives that old school vibe, that old school feel, and we get to do what we love doing in Philadelphia. And those episodes that of TNA Impact that will be shot in Philadelphia is definitely something that I recommend everybody to attend while you're there. And of course, if you don't watch it on the TNA Plus app, because as you said earlier, the shows are getting better and better, the production's getting better and better. You don't know who's going to show up, you don't know what's going to happen, and again, it's exciting. And Philadelphia is one of the places that definitely the fans get pretty rowdy.
Indeed, they do. And they don't take a lot to get rowdy, so I'm sure you're going to be fine
Yeah.
in what you do. Just before we start wrapping up, obviously, there's also another Bound for Glory with a
Mhm.
location to be announced. Obviously, I'm going to be biased and say you've got to do it over here in the UK and have another show for your fans. But again, it's going to be interesting to see where that location is. But Bound for Glory, another big pay-per-view on the TNA Plus app that we can all look forward to seeing. And that's another special one for TNA Bound for Glory.
Yeah, I agree. And you know, now that you've pitched the UK as as a pick for a place, you would have my vote 100%, because I would love to be in the UK for a show. I love wrestling that's come from the UK, and their fans have been so good and so loyal to TNA from day one, and I think it's well deserved. You know, not to say that other cities aren't more deserving, but they're more likely to see TNA on a regular basis, and being in the UK would be great.
It would be, so no pressure, the guys at TNA, but we would
I'd love
love
to try the butter chicken and the Indian food in the UK, as well as to have some fish and chips, you know, and maybe a pint here and there. Who knows? We'll see.
definitely a pint. And pint will be on me if it happens, that's for sure. I don't hold things to
100%.
that. Yeah, for sure. But as we wrap up now, just don't forget this week at TNA on the TNA Plus app, we're going to be seeing PCO and Steph Delander's date, which,
Mhm.
yeah, that's going to be interesting. And something else, which is probably going to
That's gonna be ugly.
it's going to be ugly for sure. And also a street fight between Kaz and Ace Steel.
Mhm.
Obviously stemming from Against All Odds. Any reason to, well, I think I've given you two reasons to tune in or to get the TNA Plus app, or of course in the UK on DAZN as well, and in America on AXS TV. The Campaign Singh, I'm going to let you go now. It's time for us to bid a farewell for now. Say hi to Mustafa for me, but also
He's
just
a busy man, you know. He's a busy Mr. President-elect here, so I will definitely speak to him, and when I get a chance, I'll definitely write you in to see if he can give you a hello back or not.
that'll be great. Thank you very much for joining us, Campaign Sync, on the Hitting the Turnbuckle channel. We'll be back with some more TNA stuff later on this week. But until then, everybody, buckle down, stay safe, and good night.